Okay, so now we're going to see how to render all this. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off this one for now, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put in here like a first slide. Okay, I'm going to make this a grid. I'm gonna put this the value of 0.35. We're going to keep it on for the viewport for now. Now there, I'm gonna go here, change, go shoot H light. I'm gonna lock here, okay? The view, so I can just move around. Gonna get something kind of like this. Okay. Now I'm gonna first unlock it because I don't want to move it anymore. Now, deck. Clipping. I don't know if that's gonna be necessary to change. We're going to leave it for now. Like I'm gonna put it value 2, but yeah, we could leave it kind of like default, I think. Shadows. So shadows, we're going to switch it to depth match shadows. Then we're going to leave, I think, almost everything by default. We're going to change the quality to 3. Okay, and that's gonna be okay light. Now I'm just gonna copy paste this one, make it my fill. Now up, going again here, selecting the other light this time, and we're going to go more like this for the back. Like this. Okay, unlock it. Go back to the camera view again. So for this one, actually, let me make this my fill and this one my key. Okay, so this one is going to be at if I go back to my light, 0.7, and we leave the other everything else the same. Okay. So this is going to be our global lights. And I'm already going to set up now some extra lights down here. So that's going to be for the fire, because we didn't really see fire in there. So we're just going to fake it with some lights. So the first one we're going to add, I'm just going to go here, create a new light. So that's going to be a fire 0, and I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna leave it as 0.1. I'm just gonna make this one red. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off in the viewport, and I'm gonna turn those two off in the viewport as well, just to not slow down the viewport too much. Okay, so now I'm just gonna move this one around first. and bring it down here at the base of our plume. I want it to be inside. Okay. And that should be okay. So I'm gonna give it a high intensity at 70. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on detonations, okay, to physically correct. And I'm gonna give it, oops, a distance, a max distance of 50. So if, well, okay, the difference. Okay, so that's getting really strong, okay? But again, just give it up for now. Don't worry about it if you see it going that far in the viewport. Now for this one, we not gonna need any shadows, so that's gonna turn off. Okay. Then we're going to create another one, so I'm just gonna copy paste this one. We're going to change the color to green like this, and we're going to move it a little bit around inside here like this. Get a bit up there. Okay, that's gonna be fine. And we keep everything else the same. Finally, we're going to add I'm just gonna copy paste both of them like this, and now this too. I'm just gonna move them out a little bit in front. Like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna just, come on, there, organize a little bit again here on my nodes before it gets too messy. And this one is gonna be my firelights, like this. Okay, and I'm gonna just turn them off here. I don't need them to be on. Okay, now next thing to do, we're going to go straight to the output. We're going to put a new mantra renderer. I'm gonna call this one smoke. So yeah, so you can see I already have a version here as well. So I did kind of a similar thing with my mantra robs as with my file caches. Okay, so if you want to do it, just do it. That's really up to you. So I'm just gonna change this to, let's say, 1 to 500. Then objects, main. So I have my camera on, so that's fine. Main. I personally never use candidate objects. Okay, because it's always thing you can be sure when you stress something you're going to forget to turn on a flag, and then it's not going to render that object, or you're going to leave some other flags on and it's going to render those objects when you don't want it to be rendered. So I always force it. So I'm always using force object. So in here, no, before we do this, I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna rename this one to smoke column layout. And now here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a new geo, and this one is gonna be smoke column render. So I'm gonna put this on like light blue, and for the render, I'm gonna do this one. Dark gray. No, It doesn't really matter. I don't have really a color for this one. Okay, so I'm gonna go turn this one off. Come here. Get rid of a file sub. Use an object merge. Now here, what I did, it's a default as well for me. So I've added just a point here, okay, to specific objects. It's just to get the transform of the object. It's the same as doing actually into this object. It's just something I was used to work in a way like this, so I never changed. So yeah, just make sure if you're using into specified object, the other points is looking at itself, and otherwise you could just put into this object. Both are doing exactly the same. So now I'm gonna go here and just look for my layout object and grab up there my out node, turn on expose relative paths. There we go. So now from there, what we're going to do, we're going just to set up here a small null first. You're just going to be able to switch from one shader to the other, because we're going to have like I'm going to call this one display, sorry, a matte shader plus a normal smoke shader, okay? And we're just going to be able to switch from one to the other. So this one, I'm just gonna press 1 here, okay, on my display node here. That's just gonna be for what I want to look at. And now I'm just gonna lay down 2 material subs. Just copy paste, plug those 2 in here, and I'm gonna call this one smoke shader, and I'm gonna call the other one matte shader. And finally I'm gonna lay down here a switch plus a null. So those 2 are coming in my switch, the switch in the null, and I'm gonna call this one render. And I'm gonna press 2 on the keyboard just to have that render flag on it. I'm coming back up here. So here what I'm gonna do edit parameter interface. I don't wanna see any of those, because partly okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hide material transform plus misc. Okay, I'm gonna put them as invisible. Now I only have the render shader. If I would have to change some value, anything on this later on, so I keep it here. But what I would do here, I'm gonna click on my icon again here, turn off prefix, both prefix here. I'm gonna dive back in there and go on my switch and bring this up on the root and bring this up here. So this one, I'm gonna switch it again from integer to ordered menu, and on the menu here I'm gonna do 0, and then I'm gonna do here smoke, then 1, and I'm gonna type matte and enter. And this I'm gonna select shader. So now if I go up, I have here my parameter select shader. I'm gonna be able to go from one shader to the other. Okay, so now we see it's on the matte, and I go back here on the smoke. So let's, now that we've done this, go back quickly to our mantra ROP. So back to output. Canary lights, we get rid of this as well. Now for subjects, we're going to take our smoke column render. Force light, we're going to select, key and fill, and we got here. So properties, output. So define your output. I'm not going to change anything to the output options. Render, I'm going to change it to PBR, so physically based rendering. I leave everything by default here. Sampling, I'm not going to turn the motion blur on because it's moving already so slowly and the camera is not moving, so I leave it like this. It's going to be faster. I'm just going to up here my pixel samples to 6 instead of 3. And I'm gonna leave, I think, everything else like this. Yeah, that's good. That's okay. Shading, we're not gonna change anything in there. Just check if there's anything else we're gonna have to change. I think we're good, so I'm gonna leave it like this. Now I'm gonna go to my shop here to create our shaders. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to bring a power shader in. Okay, so I'm gonna call this one smoke. Okay, so doesn't matter if it's erroring, you just have to reselect it. So on here, what we're going to do, so density, we're going to leave it like this. We're just gonna turn on the ramp. Okay, I'm gonna move this a bit down here. So I'm just gonna remap that ramp. Instead of having it linear, I'm just gonna add details to it. I'm just gonna change the interpolation to my 2 first points to get my ROM. Okay, like this. Just make sure this one got it as well. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add a bunch of new points in there, and I'm gonna start just get more interesting output here like this. Okay, just doing this is gonna already add details to our render. And then finally, an amplitude, I'm gonna bring it to 2.5 to push out more details. Okay, color, I'm gonna change the constant color to 0.1. Okay, I'm gonna leave all this same, no fire, no displacement. Shading is gonna stay the same. And we're going to try this already. Okay, so now I'm going back to my objects. So objects, my random nodes. So, oops, here selecting material shader, sub, sorry, called smoke shader. And now here I'm gonna be able to bring in my smoke shader if it lets me to do it. Okay, there we go. And I'm just double checking quickly something about my lights. Yeah, I'm going to change my key. I don't want it to be there. Let's look through my key, lock it again, and I'm gonna bring it on this side. Yeah, I think something like this should be okay. Okay, unlock it here, camera view. So now I'm gonna save this as render, and I'm just gonna go down here, keep it pressed, and select smoke, and I'll just wait for the end play to open. Okay, so it took a couple of minutes to render, so it's not too bad. Okay, just want to check something really quickly here. So if I go on my control, yeah, and this, when we look at this, this is just my display volumes, okay? So with no details at all in there. So just imagine this, then with a high res, your up-res cache, okay? So you're gonna get a lot of details coming out of there. Because, yeah, for such a low res cache, we get already some pretty good results out of here. Okay, it's even on your low res, it's lower than it's like 9 times smaller than your low res. Because if I would just switch in the viewport already, the display to, it says up res, but in my case it's my low res sim. So I'm just waiting it to cache it out. Okay, so we already see we have more details there. So if I would render this, we would have even more details. So I'm not going to do it right now, okay? I'm going to stick with the, with this one. And we're just going to go a little bit further, set up the renderer for the other lights. So I'm going to go back now to the output. I'm gonna copy paste my mantra up, and I'm gonna call this one, like, let's say fire. So on the objects, I keep the same objects here. I'm gonna change the lights. I'm gonna go for let's say the 2 inside for now. Just give it a try first. Okay, properties, I'm gonna leave everything the same except for sampling. I'm gonna go did I actually volume quality here, I'm gonna change it to 4 for my smoke, okay, just to have it a little bit higher. So back to the fire, so I'm gonna leave it everything as by default, and yeah, let's just give it a try. So now I'm gonna go down here, select fire. Okay, so this is what we get. Okay, so I'm just gonna give it a try, another try with the 2 outside lights, see what's gonna be the best. Okay, if we see any kind of differences. So I'm just gonna change these quickly to the outside ones, and I'm just gonna re-render that. Okay, so we get already something more interesting, because it's not everything's burnt out, you know, like so like we had before. So we're losing a lot of details in here with the fire, the lights inside the smoke. Okay, so I don't think this is the best solution. I think this is already way better, but just want to a little bit go back to our lights for 1 sec. And objects. If I come here, okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to change that ramp, okay? So I'm gonna add key there. I'm gonna move this one a bit more around here, and I'm gonna make this one black. See if I can get some more interesting results like this. And if I go for this one, and I'm doing the same here, so moving this one around here, turn this one to black. Okay, and just check quickly where the lights are. Oops. If I just display them and zoom on it. Okay, Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. Let me just try to change the clipping as well. No, I'm gonna leave it like this, just thinking, no, that should be okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the camera view and see if that helps. So we keep it like this, I think it should be enough. And once that would be rendered with the upper res version, so even the lower res sim, we should have already anyway more details coming out. Okay, so I was speaking about some matte shaders. So I'm gonna give you a shader that one of my friends was kind enough to give it to me to share with you. So I'm just gonna copy it and go pasting it in here. Okay, so he started from a billowy smoke shader. Okay, so let me just do I'll teach bring this one here. So billowy smoke. Was it this one? Yeah. So he started from there, okay, and then just changed a couple of things in here to get it to work as a matte shader. Okay, oops, I didn't want to go back in here. So if you want to use this one, we could use this, okay, as a matte shader. So I'm just gonna add it here to my object. I'm not gonna go in details what's going on in there. But if I go down here, I could apply it here and just grab it and use this as a matte. So if I would go now, just bring a box, switch this to matte. Okay, I'm gonna scale that box up. Okay, I'm going to just display what's going on there, moving this one in the back. So that should work. Okay, so if I go back to my camera view, just go quickly to the here output, just add a new mantra. So objects. No, not candidate. I want to force it. So I'm gonna go with the smoke, the box here. Force mate. I'm gonna select now my smoke column render. Lights. I'm gonna go with my key and my fill. Renderer PBR. Okay, sampling. That's fine. I'm gonna leave it like this. And I'm just gonna give it a try. See if that did work as I'm expecting it to be. So yeah, that seems to be doing what I'm expecting it to do. Okay, we can see it in the alpha as well. Just the smoke isn't really that dense. But yeah, so that works. So like this, you now have a shader as well to take care about your mattes. Okay, so that would be helpful later on, I'm sure. So I'm just gonna double check if there's anything else we want to see here before we go into Nuke, and just quickly look around the setup. So I think we're pretty good here. I'm just gonna get rid of that box. And I'm gonna turn quickly those two off again. And I'm gonna save the file like this. Okay, so in the next video, we're going just quickly go through the new script. We're not gonna put it together. I'm just gonna open the existing script and just show you the different elements, and then you could just use your renders in there, okay? Because I'm gonna give you that new script as well.